And in that meeting, Engels convinced the young Marx that the working class would be the agent and instrument of a final revolution in the world because of how they've been oppressed for centuries and centuries and centuries. So centuries upon centuries upon centuries ago, thousands of years ago, ancient society was defined by exploitation in terms of slaves and slave masters. And then moving along, you had the feudal system where kind of serfs and peasants would be exploited by lords, kings, queens of the manor, etc. And then when Marx lived 200 years ago was capitalism, and how the proletariat or the working class were exploited by the bourgeoisie or the ruling class. This was his idea of historical materialism, in terms of wherever materialism or kind of money was involved, or currency, there would always be a form of exploitation. The base, otherwise known as the infrastructure, was the economy. So it could be materials such as food, clothing, whatever was made in the factory, the land that the factory was on, and also the workers. And then the relations of production referred to the relationship between the boss, the ruling class boss, the bourgeoisie, and the working class worker or the proletariat, and how the boss would use this dynamic to exploit, take advantage of the proletariat by making them work long hours, not pay them much at all, kind of below minimum wage, even though there wasn't a minimum wage back then, and get them to work as hard as possible. And by doing that, what they would do is they would create profit, or what we call surplus value, where the wage that they would pay them would be far less than the actual amount of money that they made from each product. Superstructure consisted of institutions such as the family, education, religion, media, government, etc. And what they would do is they would teach ideas or ruling class ideology or bourgeois ideology to strengthen the economy or base. And this was the best way to create a collective conscience or a class consciousness where workers are aware of being exploited or taken advantage of by their ruling class or bourgeoisie bosses, and then bring about change to society through revolution. So, the Communist Manifesto detailed that the working class or proletariat had been exploited throughout history by the bourgeoisie or the ruling class owners, and the only way out of this was a revolution.
The proletarians have nothing to lose but their chains. They have a world to win. Working men of all countries unite. Thank you.